0, 1. Let's get started.
So watching this video is going to help you make some money trading Coinbase. Now I use my professional day trading strategy on this stock. So let's get right into things, all right? Get my big face out of the way, and as you can clearly see, starting things off, we have a big move going higher. Okay, now that leads me into the three variations you need to be aware of ultimately for this asset. And the first one's going to be the fact that the range for this is primarily going to be deemed right here. Okay, now this is going to be the range of this kind of neutral position slash bearish position, because we're bearish leading into this range. It still gives us the fact and warrant that we can be buying off of the lows. We just need to be a little bit careful. Okay, so we get into deviations now, both above and below. This is going to be subjectively where the supportive structure is going to be at, and then we can also figure out where the resistance is going to be, which should be subjectively in this area right here. Okay, so now that we have our range, we can figure out where it's going to rotate in this bull case scenario. Now when looking at this, we would expect for the very first variation for all the bulls out there, for the market to push back up in some sort of variation like so. Now again, you have to be aware of the fact that this is a bearish overall range, so you're going to have to see a lot of bullish momentum, which basically means 2 tries at the very least, as the market tries to now swing momentum back into the bull's favor and rotate back to the upside. Okay, now this is going to be a favorable idea, so be aware that this is going to be one of the higher probabilities. Now ultimately the distance underneath from here to right about there is going to be what we're looking to capture to the upside as well. Okay, so using this as that tool to kind of measure the move to the upside, we can see that somewhere right around this general area, right around 354-ish, should be a nice area of rejection slash measure move. Okay, so we have not only the top end of resistance, but also the extension to kind of give ourselves a gauge how high this market's going to go for the best case scenario. Now moving and continuing from this, if we do show significant strength pushing off of this, then we can look for a follow-up trade as we now look to retest this prior high back up at 361. Okay, so if we do break out of that range, this will be the next probable target of which we're trying to capture, which again resides at that 361. So for that type of variation to happen, there are several different varieties. However, for today's video, we're just going to talk about a basic one in which we continue to show strength moving up higher, and then we can look to buy the pullback as the market rotates going back up. Okay, so again, this is a continuation trade, and ultimately you want to try to buy at the lows, because it's never a great thing to buy as the market goes up. You don't want to buy high. Obviously you want to buy as low as you can. So somewhere in this general area for this example would be the great area to buy. Okay, now we have to be aware that once we do get back up to this level here that we just mentioned before, that the market is either going to extend like we just mentioned before, or the market is going to rotate back down and continue this range. Okay, so that would look something more similar to this variation like so, in which again it is bearish, so technically you only need one attempt as it rotates back down. Okay, now that's a little bit more probable than the breakout is, so just be aware that the breakout is less potential, although if it does break out, we'll trade it accordingly. Okay, but for right now, these are kind of the makeup of the market that I'm looking at right now. Now the only thing that we have left to be aware of are 2 final variations. Okay, the last one is the fact that if we continue to break down, the market is probably clearly going to be trying to fill this gap somewhere close to this prior low, which situates all the way down here at 329. Okay, so that's going to be the case. We should see some sort of extreme bearishness, giving us a signal that the market's going to continue its path lower. Okay, so instead of us rotating back up, we'll probably find some more chop in which we go down lower on strength, and then we can look to now sell the market as it goes back down to the prior low at that 329 level. Okay, now it should be obvious once it happens. Okay, so you just have to watch the market, be patient, and then allow yourself to be able to read what you're seeing. Okay, now other than these 3 variations, or I guess 4 variations, there's one last one that you need to be aware of. Okay, let me kind of scoot these off to the side. Now at any point, a market can subjectively turn into a range. Okay, now the range that we've already defined is clearly illustrated right here, right, with the highs and the lows, red and green resistance. So if we just find ourselves pushing down bearishly right here, and then we end up barcoding, okay, to the side, This is a pretty clear example of now what is another range, okay? Now it's another range that's stacked below this prior range, which is bearish to begin with. So this means that we have a bearish stacked range. So in this situation, okay, it's far more likely to look for a false breakout going higher and then rotating back to the downside than it would be to look for a breakout in its entirety, okay? So just be aware that if we do start to barcode and we go up first, look for a failure and a pull through back to the downside, okay? Now, just like we measured that move before, as we talked about the full distance underneath here as is above here, whatever that distance is for this supposed range and the formation of potentially happening is what we're going to now try to get and as illustrated as underneath, okay? So we'd have to find and define the range and then figure out our support and resistance, and then we'll get our swings based on the move above and below, all right? So those are the most basic scenarios. Now, obviously, there are a few other ones that you need to be aware of, but I will give an update to this video with more detail in the Discord, as well as give you another video just like this if the video does well on YouTube. So do yourself a favor if you did like this video, simply like it on the thing down below, the little heart or the thumbs up, whatever. And I'll be sure to come back to this video sooner than later with an update to help you all in your continuation on day trading Coinbase, okay? So again, everyone, if you want to see me day trade this exact same game plan every Monday through Friday, I have a live stream where I trade the S&P 500, and you can see me trade it again at 9:30. So just come on back to the channel. And yeah, besides that, hopefully you learned something from today's video, and I will see you all on the next candle.
I know it's hard to trust so-called gurus. That's why I live stream my trades every single day, Monday through Friday, starting at 9:30 a.m. The live stream isn't for you to copy my trades, it's to show proof and credibility that my strategy works. The stream is delayed and muted to protect my edge. But if you want to see everything unmuted and in real time, check out the Discord and Patreon links below. You'll get exclusive perks and the opportunity to learn the system for yourself, so you don't miss great opportunities just like this one.
All right, everyone. So you're going to be seeing a trade that I just recently took live during the stream, and ultimately you can be a part of this too, so make sure you look down below. But when taking a look at the trade that we just recently took here, it was the objective coming in was the fact that we had a really big move push to the upside, okay? Now this big move to the upside was basically counterplayed by a pullback, and subsequently our entry was to look to get in right above a couple pivots to retest the prior high, okay? So what you're seeing right now is the replay of my actual entry, which was right here at this 68.1925 area. And again, ultimately, like I was saying before, our main objective from this standpoint is to look to try to retest this prior high back at 68, let's just say 38. So what we are looking at right now is my volatility-based stop loss in perfect action, okay? Every trade and every day has a different stop loss based on the volatility of the day specific. So when taking a look at this trade specifically, you can see that we came relatively close to getting stopped out, okay? However, we did not get stopped out, and we ultimately reversed just like we were expecting. Now, obviously, a bit deeper of a correction, but everything was within the wheelhouse of what we were expecting. As you can soon see here in just a few seconds, we ended up getting that first target as it hits right there. And then with a little bit more patience, we did end up getting the second target as well. Now, just be aware after you get your first target, you do want to stop the risk, which is why we did pull the stop up to right around and or above our entry pivot, okay? Now from this standpoint, again, we were just waiting, being patient, and I was referencing in this part of the video what we talked about in our afternoon game plan videos, okay? I was basically saying that we were looking at this in terms of that green case scenario that we mentioned on our nightly recap videos, and that we were essentially looking for a continuation going higher, okay? Now we kind of phased that back to where we were. We did have that bigger move that went up, and now this is the three-legged pullback, and again, the retest to the high. Now, at the very least, I am expecting it to retest the high and potentially continue going higher, which is why we have those targets above us, okay? But in essence, we ended up getting that next target with a bit of patience. Definitely some patience was required. And then we ended up tightening up our stop loss and then getting trailed out without hitting the extension, okay? Now, all in all, this was a $2,500 trade. So if you want to be a part of the situation just like this, then be sure to look down below for the Discourse Patreon links, or come and join the muted, delayed live stream every 9:30 here on the YouTube channel.